see if anyone joins. I'll pull some stuff up while people are coming in. Ew, it feels so quiet. Why is it so quiet? Why am I whispering? I'll keep talking to myself until someone comes in. Hello. I'm just pulling stuff up while people come in. Hello, hello. Yay, there's people. Every time I do one of these, I'm like, is this going to be the time that nobody joins and I do the whole thing by myself? Which I totally would. Let's go, Brandon from Boston. Hi, Boston. I'm pulling things up while people enter. There's lots today. What? Hello, hello. Happy Black Friday. Does anyone... I look exhausted. I am exhausted. How was everyone's Thanksgiving? Mine was really, really good, but I feel like I have a turkey hangover. I'm always, the day after Thanksgiving, I'm always dragging a little. And I'm like, I need to get my life together. Because all you do is drink and eat all day. I guess you guys are like me. I don't do Black Friday shopping. I've never done Black Friday shopping ever. I did once because my cousin wanted to, but I have never, ever, ever done Black Friday shopping. Good morning, Morris. I am just pulling stuff up and then we'll get started. Good morning. Jive turkey. Good morning. Urgh. Hello, Nightmare. Just pulling stuff up, waiting for people to come in. I'll get started in about 2 minutes. We're going to talk about the Remain in Mexico policy. Good morning. Hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I did. I hope you all did as well. That's why I look so tired. Oh my gosh, is my makeup messed up? I tried to put on a little bit of, hi from UK, I tried to put on a little bit of mascara to look a little alive. I'm very, had a really good Thanksgiving yesterday. It was a lot of fun. I hope everyone did as well. Well, the people in America, I know someone here is from the UK. Okay. So we'll talk about Remain in Mexico first. That's being reinstated, which is good news. And then, good morning, everyone. And then I have this really amazing Twitter thread about Remain in Mexico is key, somebody said. I agree. Talk about Remain in Mexico. There's a lot of smash and grab theft going on. Hi, Lance, in California. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about why it's happening. I have a really, really, really incredible Twitter thread that I'll read you. And then piggybacking off the crime, we'll talk about Seth Rogen because he said something stupid. So we'll talk about that. Okay, we can get started now. Thank you all for joining. I hope those in the US had a really good Thanksgiving, and everyone, I know there's someone here from the UK. I hope you had a really good Thursday, and I hope you're having a great Friday. Happy Friday. I guess we have all the non-Black Friday shoppers here. It's funny, Biden hurried to erase all of Trump's work and is now having to reinstate it just to try to set things right. Yeah, I know. And it's so funny because I've said this before, and I'll say it again. With the whole border situation, you know, there's clearly some other reason that I don't know about. Why is this happening? But the whole border situation, we could have avoided this crisis. Biden could have literally done nothing. All he had to do was just nothing. He could have gone to the beach and none of this would have happened, this huge crisis at the border. But as soon as Biden came into office, he signed all of those executive orders and he erased a lot of Trump's border policies that were actually working. One of those was Remain in Mexico. He got rid of that, which we'll go into in just a second. Another one was Trump got rid of catch and release, which kind of goes hand in hand with remain in Mexico. And Biden stopped construction of the border wall, which was crazy because, again, all he had to do is nothing. So all the pieces of the border wall, they were all bought and paid for. The workers were hired, and he just stopped it. So all of that equipment is still just hanging out, unused, which is wild. But they had to get rid of everything that Trump did. And they did. And that's why we have this unprecedented, these unprecedented crossings at the border. And I don't know if you guys know, my paycheck ain't big enough this week for Black Friday shopping. That's fine. I've never been a Black Friday shopper. Sometimes if there's something that I wanted, like a big ticket item that I've wanted for a while, I'll do some Cyber Monday, but nah, that's not my thing. And I don't like crowds too much. So, American taxpayers paying for border construction workers to sit around doing nothing. Absolute madness. Yeah, well, I'm sure they're not sitting there, but you look so much like my wife, but she doesn't like politics. Yeah, everything was already paid for. Tom McDonald was having a Black Friday sale. Go see the awesome things. That's a Black Friday sale I could get down with. Tom McDonald. I am all for supporting Tom McDonald and independent artists just in general, but especially Tom McDonald. I love Tom McDonald. Sarah Sansona. Okay, let's get started on the what's happening at the border. Okay, so this is from the Texas Tribune. Biden administration says it's ready to restore remain in Mexico policy along the border next month, which is very good news. It says the Brandon administration is prepared to re-implement the Trump-era border policy known as the Migrant Protection Protocols in mid-November if the Mexican government agrees to accept the return of asylum seekers to its territory, officials said on Thursday. In August, the U.S. District Court in Texas ordered the Biden admin to reinstate the MPP known as Remain in Mexico Highland, faulting the White House for ending the program improperly. The Supreme Court upheld the decision, forcing Biden officials to restore a policy that the president has deplored as inhumane. The Department of Homeland Security said in a statement late Thursday that it is taking necessary steps to comply with the court order, which requires us to re-implement MPP in good faith. MPP cannot resume without Mexico's consent, as the court acknowledged its ruling, and administration officials said they are taking steps to address the concerns of the government of President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador by setting up a better access to legal counsel for asylum seekers and exemptions for vulnerable migrants. Mexico is a sovereign nation and that must make an independent decision to accept the return of individuals without status in Mexico as a part of any reimplementation of NPP. The DHS statement said discussions with the government of Mexico concerning when and how MPP will be re-implemented is ongoing. The Trump admin used MPP to return more than 60,000 asylum seekers across the border in Mexico, requiring them to wait outside U.S. territory as their claims were processed in U.S. courts. Trump officials conceived the policy as a way to prevent border crossers from being released into the U.S., and avoiding deportation by making asylum claims. Trump used the threat of tariffs to force Mexico to accept a major expansion of MPP in 2019. Amid a surge of Central American families seeking protection, border crossings fell sharply, and that's what happened. As soon as this was re-implemented, the illegal crossings fell tremendously. They fell sharply in the months that followed, but immigrant advocates denounced the policy, documenting hundreds of R words, RAPES. Thank you so much, Chris. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Kidnappings and other abuses suffered by migrants marooned in dangerous Mexican border cities. Biden halted NPP soon after taking office when border crossings skyrocketed in the spring. Biden was asked if he made a mistake by moving too quickly to end MPP and other Trump era controls. Rolling back the policies of remain in Mexico, sitting on the edge of Rio Grande, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we get it. It's really funny because this is a publication I don't really. Oh, the Biden administration has continued to use Title 42 while exempting unaccompanied minors, expelling more than 700,000 people since January. The latest data shows. Well, I don't know if that's totally true. So, the court ordered them to reinstate this. He went and signed all these executive orders without really thinking of the consequences. So basically, remain in policy is when someone comes and they seek asylum in the U.S. What happened before is they would come over the border illegally. They would get a court date, which is typically like 2 to 3 months from that time, and that's where they go to court, and their asylum claim is reviewed, and it's either denied or they receive asylum and they can be in the U.S. legally. The problem is there's two problems. The first problem is 90% of people that come over the border illegally and claim asylum, they don't actually meet asylum status. Most of these people are economic migrants, which means they're coming here for a better life, to make money, which you can't blame people for doing that, but that's not asylum. Asylum is you're escaping religious persecution or a very dangerous country or something like that. And to claim asylum somewhere, you really have to. It has to be the first better country that you go to, and a lot of our asylum people we're seeing a lot from Haiti, a lot of Central Americans, so they're actually going through Mexico, which they could claim asylum in Mexico, but they don't want to do that. They want to come to the U.S. So 90% of people that claim asylum actually don't meet asylum status to begin with. The other problem is most of those people that they're like, okay, here's your court date, see you later. They never show up in court, and they're just hanging out in the U.S., doing whatever, and they're here illegally, which, I mean, that's not good. So there's that. And the remain in Mexico policy, the whole catch and release, that is a huge incentive for people to come here illegally. If you're just going to be allowed into the interior of the US without question, then why would you not do that? So as soon as Trump implemented this policy, it stopped border crossings tremendously. And this, I don't know if how objective this Texas Tribune is, but the reality of the situation is, so they're saying that, this caused the asylum seekers that had to wait for asylum in Mexico, this caused them to be subjected to more danger, which I don't understand how that's true, because if you're making the trek anyway, for instance, I was talking to a Border Patrol agent who encountered a young girl who was 13, and she was traveling with Plan B. And they asked why she had it. Her mother gave it to her, attacked, if you know what I mean, on the trip. So if you're making that trip anyway, you're subjecting yourself to a lot of danger. Or you're paying cartel, or you're paying a smuggler. And if the remain in Mexico policy is re-implemented, that would deter more people from making that dangerous trek in the first place. So you don't want people to make that trek. And it's really interesting too. It's crazy to think about. It's crazy to think that we are, the most powerful nation in the entire world, and our border right now is just wide open. It's basically wide open. It's basically run by the cartel, and it's quite crazy that is being allowed to happen. So you have that, and then you also have, I don't know if you guys heard about it. I'm going off track a little bit, but in New York City, they are set to vote. Hold on, is it New York City? Thank you so much, Lance. That's very sweet. Border laws only apply to alleged Supreme sandwiches who try to help their communities. Exactly. There's a lot of people that, thank you, Lance. There's a lot of people that live in these border communities that are just terrified. They're having people run through their yards, leave trash everywhere. I can't imagine living like in Yuma, Arizona, or Del Rio, Texas. Canada is also having issues with fake asylum seekers coming to Canada from the US. Are you really? Can't tell if that was a joke or not. But hey, maybe, I don't know. I mean, you can't have, this is what Thomas Sowell says all the time, you can't be a welfare state with open borders. It's not sustainable. No, it's not a joke. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Are they Americans coming to Canada, or are they from different countries? I don't know if I read that correctly. That's really interesting. New York voting to let 800. There's actually a vote happening very soon. Canada is awesome. I've never been to Canada. I've been to a lot of places. I've never been to Canada. So New York, actually, this is really interesting while we're on this conversation. So another thing that Democrats were trying to do is they were trying to allow people that are here illegally to vote. And New York, I don't know if you heard about this, but they're actually voting. It says New York moves to allow 800,000 non-citizens to vote in local elections. I believe they're voting on this. I don't think... New York City lawmakers are poised to allow more than 800,000 New Yorkers who are green card holders or have a legal right to work in the U.S. To vote in municipal elections and for local ballot initiatives. The bill, known as Our City, Our Vote, would make New York City the largest municipality in the country to allow non-citizens to vote in local elections. This legislation is expected to be approved by City Council on December 9th by a veto-proof margin. Comes as the country is dealing with a swath of new laws to impose voter restrictions, as well as the economic and demographic effects of a decline in immigration. This is what happens when you read Yahoo News. This is how they quote things. That's so funny. Sometimes I pull up like things that I know are a little slanted just to see what's going on there. So I actually, I watched a video. So I believe they're voting on this on December 9th. I watched a video actually earlier today from a city council member in New York, and it was a woman, and she's actually an immigration lawyer and is a bacon. Who said that? And is a first-generation immigrant herself who obtained her citizenship. And she is actually voting no. And she said, I do not want to allow this. This decentivizes. Are people still Yahooing in 2021? Apparently. I mean, I just pulled up this story because I just thought about it when I was talking to you all. And Yahoo's the first thing that came up. So, bacon sounds really good. You know, it's funny. I don't eat pork, but I eat bacon. Is that normal? I don't think that's normal. But she's voting no. And her reason is, you know, I work with people and people work so hard to obtain their citizenship. And once you get it, you're so proud to get it. I had, especially in LA, most of my friends were immigrants. One of my really good friends, she was my roommate for a while. She came here from Finland, and I had another really good friend that was from Australia. And my friend from Australia, I was friends with her while she was trying to obtain her legal status. And it was a really big deal for her when she got it. And, you know, being able to vote is one of the things that you get to do when you obtain this legal status. That's what's so frustrating about someone who is a non-citizen being able to vote or having all of these illegal border crossers, are because you have people that want to come here from all over the world and they want to do it the right way. And they want to obtain their citizenship the right way. And it decentivizes that. And it's kind of a slap in their face, in my opinion. Anywho. Okay, let's move on. So that's good news. So they should be reinstating it, I believe, in December. So we'll see what happens with that. I feel like there's always a sneaky way for them to bypass things, but I have a Yahoo email, but I don't remember it. I have a Hotmail account still, but it's not Hotmail, it's Live. I don't use it, but it's my password on some things. Let's bring back Hotmail. Next. Okay. So this has been happening in California like crazy. We talked about it a little bit on this channel. The right way to obtain American citizenship is via 90-day fiance. I like that. Just go on 90-day fiance like the rest of us, and no, just kidding, I wouldn't do that. 90-day fiance. I watched some of that. I watched a little bit of that, like clips from it on YouTube. Someone said, let's bring back Trump. Okay, so thieves hit California Apple Store and make off with $200,000 worth of loot in brazen daytime robbery. So this has been happening all over California and in a lot of like super lefty city. Wow, I haven't heard of Hotmail in a minute. Remember their chat rooms back in the day? I remember chat rooms. 90-day was pretty hilarious. Just do 90-day fiance like a normal person. Hello from Germany. Hi, Germany. How's Germany these days? Who remembers MySpace? I don't even use Facebook anymore. Okay, let's read about this. 4 men. So this has been happening all across California. You have these smash and grabs. We had recently the Grove. Actually, this is where I used to live, right around where I used to live. The Grove it's this outdoor mall. It's really famous in West Hollywood or in Los Angeles. And now it's like a really beautiful place to go to for the holidays. They have fake snow and really cool holiday decorations. And it's a really nice place to go. There's a lot of outdoor restaurants, stores, there's a movie theater, a farmer's market. And that was recently hit. They hit up the Nordstrom, and I think it was like 20 people. I believe they arrested 3 of them, but they got all kinds of stuff. So you have people, they'll show up and a bunch of cars, they park the cars outside, they run in, take a bunch of stuff, run back out, and drive off. It also happened, it'll probably talk about this over here. Oh, well, let's just talk about this story. But these like smash and grabs have been happening like crazy. And in my opinion, this really started happening. I think it started happening around when we had all the riots, because you had a lot of mass looting, and we had it bad, really bad in Los Angeles, especially Santa Monica, which is they also have a big outdoor mall. What I think happened is during the riots, I think a lot of people got emboldened and they got away with stuff. So since then, you've been seeing a lot of these instances. It's been happening in Beverly Hills, and just all over California. San Francisco is another area where you see this a lot. And I just think, you have... And we're going to get into this too. I have this excellent thread for you. But I just think that a lot of criminals got really emboldened. The demonizing of police officers. You have, I believe it's Prop 47 in California, which you can steal up to $950. So all of this stuff combined just really made a landscape for people to just go nutso and start smashing and grabbing all over the place. Okay, so it said 4 men burst into an Apple store in broad daylight. That's another thing. A lot of this stuff is happening in broad daylight, especially in Beverly Hills. They'll go after like Louis Vuitton and sort of those high-end stores in broad daylight. Excuse me, Mark Zuckerberg. It says 4 men burst into an Apple store in broad daylight and stole $20,000 worth of merchandise in another smash and grab attack in California. The incident took place in Santa Rosa Plaza, about 50 miles from San Francisco. Okay, so that was around San Francisco, and this was on Wednesday morning. 4 young men believed by police to be between the ages of 14 and 18. Holy cow, that's so young. Entered and grabbed merch before fleeing in what authorities called a brazen daytime burglary. In brazen daytime burglary, the front customers and staff, the suspects grabbed over $20,000. Okay, we already know that. A group of thieves also hit a Nordstrom store in the Los Angeles area Wednesday evening, stealing at least 7 luxury handbags. This was the one at the Grove, and assaulting a guard before making a clean getaway. 5 people, one wearing an orange wig, entered a store in Canoga Park just before 7 p.m. and sprayed a security guard with some kind of chemical, terrified shoppers and fled the mall. The thieves sped off and managed to escape with thousands of dollars worth of handbags, despite multiple police cruisers as well as fire trucks, ambulances responding to the raid. A rash of flash thefts have occurred across California and San Jose, Santana Road, Howard, and Walnut Creek. In each wave of thieves, in one instance, a mob of 80, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but one instance, there were 80 people that stormed into, I believe it was a Nordstrom. Thieves have stolen tens of thousands of dollars worth of luxury goods, but often face little consequences amid soft misdemeanor theft laws passed in 2014 by voters in a Democrat-run states. The robbers aren't acting alone. Law enforcement say that mercenary thieves are being recruited up to 1,000 to steal. Whoa. Sorry. Law enforcement say that mercenary thieves are being recruited for up to 1,000 to steal expensive goods, which are then shipped across state lines and sold on the internet. The sophisticated method makes it harder for cops to track the criminals. Wow. Meanwhile, a debate has broken out about what to call the thefts. Police and law enforcement experts in California are saying that the recent surge of smash and grab thefts in California should be called looting. Oh, people are saying, wow. People are saying it shouldn't be called looting because the term carries racial connotations. To who? To who? We have to be careful what we call our criminals because we don't want to offend anybody. Guys, that's where we're at now. Okay? We don't want to offend the criminals. Borrowers. Yes, can we please be politically correct and call them borrowers? That's the world we live in, folks. That has prompted a spokesman for the San Diego Police Department to call the thefts organized robbery. Jeez Louise. It's like in LA, I'm sure you've heard this. People don't want to say homeless, they want to say the unhoused. And I'm like, okay, but think about this. You have homeless and unhoused. Isn't that the same exact thing? Undocumented shoppers, that's the best one. Glenn wins. Those are as fresh as summer breeze. The large-scale thefts aren't considered looting under California Penal Code, according to a report on Tuesday. The Penal Code defines looting as theft or burglary during a state of emergency, local emergency, or evacuation order resulting from an earthquake, fire, riot, or other natural or man-made disaster. Okay? As the Bay Area grapples with a wave of seemingly organized smash and grab robberies this weekend, policing and journalism analysts are cautioning use of the term looting. So that's where our concern lies. Welcome to the clown world. Okay, so while we're talking about that, I don't know if you know who Michael Schallenberger is. He has a book, which I really want to read. Maybe I'll order it today, called San Francisco, where he kind of dives into what has been going on with San Francisco, with the crime and the homelessness. He also has Apocalypse Never. I also want to read that, about how people fearmonger with the environment talk. And the reason I like him is he's a liberal. So, and the reason I say I like him because he's a liberal is because you know that, I mean, this is someone who's really, you know what I mean. I can't find the words to describe what I mean. But I like that he's a liberal because he's not at, sometimes conservatives or Republicans, when they're reporting on this stuff, they can be a little, I don't know how to say it, not fear-mongery. You know, I think you know what I mean. But what I'm saying is, even if a liberal is saying this, then thoughts on the mayor of California. The mayor of California, you mean the governor, Gavin Newsom? Oh, he's on vacation in Mexico, by the way. Hyperbolic, thank you. That's a good word. He's calling out his own tribe. Thank you. Thank you for criticism on the left is always more believable. I agree with that too. Governor. Yeah. So, by the way, I actually have lots of thoughts on him. So he was missing for 10 days. Okay. I heard a rumor. This is a rumor that I think so he was missing for 10 days, and a lot of people were saying it was because he got his booster shot, and they're saying that he had symptoms because of his booster shot. I don't think that's what it was. I think it might be like personal things. Like, I don't know. This is just me thinking, okay? I don't think it was because of the shot. I think maybe you have to understand his history. Like, he's been in rehab before. I think there was some kind of dysfunctional personal thing happening, and he was trying to hide out from the public, if you get what I'm saying. That's what I think. And I know a lot of conservatives, like, they probably want it to be, hi, Mandy, they probably want it to be because of, it would fit their narrative if it was complication because of, yes, Detective Sarah, it would fit their narrative if it was complications because of the booster shot. So, but I don't think that's what it was. I'm not saying it was rehab. I'm not saying it was infidelity, but I think something dysfunctional happened in his personal life, and they were trying to hide from the public. And he's also in Mexico right now. California is still in a state of emergency, by the way, and is he in Mexico or Hawaii? He's somewhere on vacation. Was the rumor blasphemous? I don't know. You think more infidelity? Possibly, I don't know, but that's what my little spidey senses are telling me. Yes, and he has been in rehab before. He's had problems with the white stuff. I think he's had alcohol problems, all kinds of stuff. So that's just what I think. But maybe the truth will come out. Okay, I love this thread. I love this thread. I love this thread. So let's read this. Now, this is talking about, so we had a lot of conversations about these super progressive DAs, with what happened in the tragedy that just happened in Milwaukee and all of that stuff. So it says, Michael Schallenberger, Apocalypse Never, San Francisco, really good books. So he says, Milwaukee's progressive DA said so I don't know if you remember Milwaukee, the tragedy that happened in Milwaukee with the man ramming his car into the crowd. So right after this happened, we found out that this man actually did something similar to his girlfriend and is just a career criminal, lots of violent crime. And just a week before this happened, he was let out on $1,000 bail. And this is one of those super progressive DAs like George Gascon. I believe this was another Soros-funded one of those DAs. So he says, Milwaukee's progressive DA said the $1,000 bail that released a man who killed 6 at the Waukesha Christmas parade was unacceptably low. But the DA diverted other homicidal criminals with low cash bails as recently as November 11th and 13th. On November 11th, Kenneth Burney was charged with 4 counts of attempted murder. Burner reportedly shot and wounded 3 people while he awaited trial for disorderly conduct with use of dangerous weapon as a habitual criminality repeater with assault assessments. Burney was reportedly released on a $1,000 signature bond in March. A signature bond does not require a defendant to deposit any money. It only asks for a promise to pay the bond if they fail to show up to trial. On November 13th, Michael Dabney was charged with first-degree intentional offing someone while he awaited trial for first-degree recklessly endangering safety involving use of a weapon. His bail was set a little bit higher at $10,000. But Dabney posted bail and was later accused by police of offing a woman and attempting to make it look like she offed herself. All 3 men had supposedly been under the supervision of the same nonprofit diversion program, Justice Point. How many lives could have been saved and how many fewer people could have been victimized had Brooks, Burney, and Dabney been kept in jail? We do not know yet because the reports that Justice Point was supposed to file are not available and or are incomplete. What we do know is that some defendants facing serious crimes, some sickeningly similar to the circumstances of the Waukesha Christmas parade tragedy, were given low cash bails and released awaiting trial in Milwaukee County. The Waukesha tragedy points how progressive prosecutors, judges, and policymakers are sacrificing public safety on the altar of reducing incarceration at all costs. And they're doing this to reduce racial inequalities. But the main reason for high levels of incarceration isn't because America is a racist society, it's because we are a violent society. The offing rate in the United States is 4 times as high as that of France and Britain, and more than 5 times higher than Australia's. Rising incarceration rates in the past reflected rising rates of violent crime. From 1990 to 2010, 2/3 of that increase in inmates nationwide came from people convicted of violent offenses. It's true that Black people are more likely to receive higher bail requirements for the same crime, to be offered plea bargains that include jail time, and to be incarcerated while waiting trial, more than white people, and more likely to be charged with low-level offenses. But the Black Americans are also 7 times more likely to commit and die from those crimes than whites. The offing rate for white is 2.3 per 100,000 and 17.4 for Black Americans. According to FBI, 81% of white victims are offed by whites, 89% of Black victims are offed by Black offenders. Our goal should thus be first and foremost on reducing violent crime, which has the secondary benefit of reducing incarceration. And yet the focus of progressives has been, the last 2 decades, been narrowly on reducing inequality and incarceration. When District Attorney Chisholm was elected in 2007, that's the district attorney in Waukesha. When District Attorney Chisholm was elected, I think I'm saying his name right, I'm not sure, was elected in 2017, he announced that he was seeking to send fewer people to prison, even though he knew it would result in offings and homicides. He actually said this. I don't know if you guys know this, but he actually said, he said, in other words, I know my policies are going to cause people to be offed. Someone is going to be offed because of my policy. Let me reread that. He announced that he was seeking to send fewer people to prison, even though he knew it would result in more offings. Is there going to be an individual I divert or put into a program who's going to go out and off? You bet. That's what he said. I bet he wish he didn't say that now. By diverting even people who attempted to off people, like Brooks, the Waukesha guy, Jr. did of his girlfriend, progressives like Chisholm have been removing the threat of jail from the calculus of criminals. In 2007, the offing rate in Milwaukee rose from 12 per 100K to 25 per 100K in 2015, fell to 17 per 100K in 2019, and leapt to 33 in 2020. In 2019, Milwaukee judges diverted every one of the 19 people charged with offing into Justice Point rather than to jail them. And between 2017 and 2018, the share of defendants that committed a new crime while under Justice Point's supervision increased from 8% to 13%. Another factor behind rising offings has been the progressive demonization of police, which demoralizes officers. Demoralization has led to the withdrawal from policing, which further emboldens criminals. In 2014, the police chief of St. Louis described less aggressive policing and more empowered criminals as the Ferguson effect. 3 months earlier, a white police officer in nearby Ferguson had offed an unarmed 18-year-old Black teenager. I see it not only the law enforcement side, said the chief, but the criminal element is feeling empowered by the environment. So he's basically saying all of this anti-police rhetoric has demoralized officers and empowered criminals. His high content warrior, who is that? High comment warrior. Caught you live, like, oh, cool, I'm glad you're here. Somebody new caught the live. Okay. In 2015, the U.S. Department of Justice asked one of the country's leading criminologists, Richard Rosenfeld, to investigate whether offings had, in fact, risen. At first, Rosenfeld was skeptical. He noted that offings someone asked, what are my thoughts on Rittenhouse getting a photo with Trump? Oh, let me finish this and then I'll answer that because I get distracted. He noted, okay, so Rosenfeld was skeptical that offings had risen in the U.S., and he noted that offings in St. Louis had already started rising before 2014. But after looking at the evidence, Rosenfeld changed his mind. The offing increase in the nation's large cities was real and nearly unprecedented. He wrote in his 2016 report, Rosenfeld had found a 17% rise in offings in the nation's largest cities between 2014 and 15. In the wake of the summer of 2020, BLM protests against police violence, the offing rate increased on average by more than 1/3 in America's 57 largest cities. Offings rose in 51 cities and declined in just 6 of them. Rosenfeld told me that when I interviewed him, he believed the 2020 offing increase was in some significant amount caused by the anti-police protests, which undermines belief in police, particularly among young Black people. Researchers found negative publicity about police has a powerful impact on police officers, making them more likely to believe that the public's attitude towards them has worsened and that their legitimacy is being questioned, and that makes them fearful of false allegations. It's time to rebalance our concerns, he says. It's not just that Brooks Jr.'s bail was unacceptably low, it's that progressives are unacceptably focused on protecting the rights of criminals while sacrificing the rights, including to life itself, of victims. And that is what we have said. What did he say? I have to be careful what I say on YouTube because they don't like certain language. So there you have it. He actually, so this is, and the reason this is significant is this is a progressive that's saying this anti-police sentiment has had a big impact. A lot of other things are having a big impact, but the whole anti-police sentiment, and I personally agree, duh, Bears. The Bears won yesterday, but apparently it wasn't a good win. It wasn't a proud win. But this is happening all over. We have all of these really progressive DAs that really are putting the rights of criminals ahead of the rights of victims. And the thing about a DA, when you're a DA, so you have the district attorney and you have a public defender. Our DAs, a lot of these DAs are acting like public defenders. And it's like, we already have a public defender. So if you're acting as a public defender and your mindset is with the rights of the criminal, then who's protecting the victims? And this is happening in Los Angeles under George Gascon. You have victims that are basically feeling abandoned by the criminal justice system, which is really sad. And, you know, a lot of these DAs are getting elected and they're campaigning under the guise of public pretender. They're campaigning under the guise of, you know, criminal justice reform. And who doesn't want criminal justice reform? Everyone does. YouTube not only likes certain words, but also certain combination of words in a sentence. Yeah, so that's why I have to say annoying substitute words. I wish it was not that way, but it is. So yeah, that's what's happening. Okay, so speaking of crime, You also have, what blows my mind too, you also have a lot of celebrities. So for instance, George Gascon, who got elected, and then in LA County alone, so they're running under the, they're campaigning on criminal justice reform, but they don't ever actually say what they're going to do once they get in office, and they'll use words. And if you look at all of them, if you look at all of their campaigns, they use the same language. They use words like reimagine and forward thinking, and that's how they get these policies in. But what they're really doing is they're just reducing incarceration, and then violent crime is going up. So in LA County, our incarceration rate is down 33% this year from last year, but crime is up in every single category. It should not be that way. That is not reform. If incarceration is down and crime is up, that's not the direction you want to go in. It's equity, exactly. And that is the perfect example of what this guy was explaining is equity. I'm so glad you said that word, because equity basically means equality of outcome, not equality of opportunity. So this is how they control the outcome and make it look like it's justice, or they make it look like it's reform. And the outcome is, look, we have fewer incarcerated people, and that's the outcome. So they control the outcome. Meanwhile, but they're not looking at the beginning of it. So they're not looking at how do we reduce crime, not let's control the outcome, let's not control reducing crime. And you can even go into the entire affirmative action argument. Affirmative action is also one of those, equal outcome, equity, equality of outcome. So they do that in Hollywood, which I think is really funny. So I'm going to use Hollywood as an example. Hollywood has like a huge diversity push, a big diversity push, but that makes it actually, something like, so what they're doing in Hollywood is they're saying we have to have this many people from this race and this race and this race. Meanwhile, the pool in LA, like the acting pool, your pool of actors in LA are some of the, and what they're saying is, we don't have enough people of color in the entertainment industry, or we don't have enough people of color represented on television. Well, if you look at the pool of actors in Los Angeles, it's mostly white people. And they're trying to be more equitable by doing a diversity push. But what you have to understand about the actors that are already in Los Angeles, if you are in Los Angeles, you are among some of the most privileged people. It is very expensive to live in Los Angeles. It's very expensive to be an actor. It's very expensive to be in acting school, and you have to get headshots. There's a lot of stuff that goes into acting. And so even whatever background is there, these are some of the most privileged people in the US. And in my opinion, if you want to be more equitable with your acting pool, why don't you put an acting school in a lower income area, or an after school program, and get more people from lower income areas to have the same opportunities that some of the most privileged of the privileged have. So you're just being more equitable with the most privileged people. So that's another equality of outcome type of situation. It's not equality of opportunity, if that makes sense. I don't know if I explained that really well. Okay, so let's talk about Seth Rogen. And this is what also happens. You have a lot of celebrities that push for defunding the police. You have a lot of celebrities, for instance, John Legend campaigned for George Gascon. John Legend, who lived at the time in a $17 million mansion in Beverly Hills behind a wall. So you have all of these people who have lots of money, who are able to afford personal security. They live in gated communities behind walls, and these are the ones that are pushing for defund the police. I don't know if you guys know who, what's his last name? I can't remember right now, but there is a journalist that I follow, and he lives in New York City, so he'll go to some of the most gentrified, expensive areas in New York City, and he'll say, what do you think about defunding the police? And they're like, yeah, police, we gotta get rid of them, and they're awful. And then you go to he goes right in the heart of Harlem and he asks people that live there, he's like, what do you guys think about defunding the police? And they're like, are you nuts? It would be crazy if you did that. So it seems to be most of the time the most privileged of the privileged that that kind of downplay crime, that want to defund the police, that and this is a perfect example of this. So this is what happened with Seth Rogen on Twitter. So Casey Neistat, he's a huge YouTuber. He actually makes really cool content. I used to watch him a little bit, but Casey Neistat, like really successful YouTuber, he tweeted this out on November 24th, so just 2 days ago. He says, so our cars got robbed this morning because Los Angeles is a crime-riddled third world shithole of a city, but tremendous appreciation and gratitude to the hardworking officers at the LAPD West LA who not only arrested the mother effer, they got all of our stolen goods back. So that was his tweet. And Seth Rogen replied with, dude, I've lived here for over 20 years. You're nuts. Ha ha. It's lovely here. Don't leave anything value in it. It's called living in a big city. And I believe, I don't have the entire exchange here, but it ended up with Seth saying, Casey replied with, can I at least be sad? And Seth was like, dude, my car, I live in West Hollywood, like it's awesome. He said, my car has been broken into 15 times and whatever, I don't care. It's just a part of urban living. I move on with my life. He says, my car is not an extension of me. This is basically somebody that is very privileged, that doesn't have the financial burden that most people have when your car gets broken into. This is someone, again, that lives in a gated area who probably doesn't have the fear that a lot of people would as well. Someone responded with, so now you have it, LA residents, just leave a note on your car saying, break into Seth Rogen's car instead. He doesn't mind. So he's basically saying crime is what you get when you live in an urban area. And that's actually a little bit true. Like there is increased crime in urban areas, but what is happening in Los Angeles right now is an explosion of crime. Seth Rogen's BMI exceeds his IQ. And in San Francisco, we actually talked about this before. I don't know if I have anyone from San Francisco here, but in San Francisco, it's so bad that a car sometimes is all of a person has and depends on, thank you for bringing that up. You're absolutely right. He is losing his fans. Yeah, and again, this just goes to show you what a class separation there is. Like, get over it, man. He ended up saying, a lot of people come at me and talk shit on Twitter, hoping I'll engage with them publicly and give them attention. But instead, I DM them and tell them to go F themselves privately. It's a lot more fun. That's what Seth said. So funny. Oh, and that was the end of his tweet. So Seth also, he ended up joking that somebody once broke into his car and there was a knife left in it. He's like, sometimes you get a little treat. Maybe they'll leave a knife in your car. My Lanta. Hola, Jay. And it also discredits, there's a lot of, especially in certain areas, so where Seth lives is, that's where I lived in West Hollywood, and there's parts of West Hollywood that are so bad right now. There's a lot of armed robberies happening with people just walking in broad daylight. They'll take your phone if you have a nice watch or stuff like that. Joe Rogan is the man. I agree. I like Joe Rogan. I didn't say Joe Rogan, did I? I said Seth Rogen. So Seth Rogen branded as privileged after a tweet about LA crime. Thank you, Lance. Go check out Amanda Millis' response to DM from Seth Rogen. She ripped him to shreds. It was glorious. Ooh, can we find it? Hold on, let's try to find it. Amanda Millis, Seth Rogen. Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. Come on, internet. Good morning from High Desert. Good morning. It's coming. Oh, I think I saw this. Okay. Amanda Millis. I don't know how this started. Okay, so she retweeted. I'll read you again what Seth said so we can get the full awesomeness. So Seth says, a lot of people come at me and talk shit on Twitter, hoping I'll engage with them publicly and give them attention. But instead, I DM them and tell them to go F themselves privately. It's a lot more fun. So Amanda Milius on Twitter, I don't know who she is, but I do now. She tweeted, nope, it's more fun in public. And she has a screenshot. Here, I'll show it to you. So here it is. Here's her conversation with Seth, and Seth says, hi, go F yourself. Happy Thanksgiving. And she responded with, that's not something I need to do because I'm not 5'9". She says, that's not something I need to do because I'm not a 5'9" manlet with a BMI of 32. Does it hurt knowing that no living breathing female has ever authentically desired you? That you've only ever been a means to money or some small shred of second tier Hollywood fame? Have a happy Indigenous Peoples Day to you too, sir. I don't think that Seth Rogen is a very happy individual. Oh my gosh. He once said something pretty nasty to a kid. Ow. Sorry, I'm sitting on my... There we go. Seth Rogen is annoying. I will say, he's had some funny movies, but he just seems to be a bit of a huge jerk in real life. There was one time a kid wanted to take a picture with him, and I think it was the kid of a Republican, and he actually refused to take a picture with the kid because of who the kid's dad was. That's how petty Seth Rogen is. So funny. Here, I'm going to see what else. Seth. Oh, am I writing? I'm not trying to tweet that. But in San Francisco, it's so bad. Remain in Mexico is the greatest policy. It deterred a lot of people from coming. People come here because they know that they're going to be released into the U.S. and they don't have to show up to court. Okay, here's another reply to him. He's funny when he makes fun of himself. Yeah, I think his movies are funny, but he's a crappy individual. Okay, so here's another. So see, he actually does DM a lot of people. Is Seth a comedic version of Alec Baldwin? Apparently. So, ow. I'm adjusting myself, so I keep hitting my foot on my desk. Okay, so Seth DM'd someone, and he said, hey man, no clue who you are, but I came across this and I kindly invite you to go F yourself. Haha, now I'm reading your IG posts and I see who you are. This is the type of person that he is. And so the person responded with, it appears the quality of your social media trolling has mirrored the path of your comedy career. Steep and embarrassing decline. Seth is actually selling a $400 rolling tray for weed. Seth Rogen rolls into a bar. Everyone makes like a tree and leaves. Dad jokes. Dad jokes. So there was actually again, this is how out of touch. But there is a huge increase in crime, and a lot of people are being victimized. That's why it's just such a, excuse my language, but it's such a douchey thing to say. It's just douchey. Sorry. Excuse my language, but that's really, when I think of that, I just think he's just a douche. This morning, a man was robbed and offed while he was walking back to his G-Wagon from Bossa Nova. Whoa, see you guys, this is this is where I used to live. I used to live right here. Hi from Northeast Ohio. Okay, look, I'm just gonna show this to you. This is, bleh. Sometimes saying bad language is a little bit fun. Hello, where am I? Southeast Ohio? A carjacking? Yeah, it was a carjacking. It happened yesterday. Oh my God, I'm just pulling this up. Sorry, I'm just kind of hanging out now. I need me a G-Wagon, same here. Actually, I'm not a fan of them. I prefer, you know what I like? I like the classic, the vintage Broncos. Those are my favorite. My favorite, that's my dream car. Like an old Bronco. I don't like the new ones. I'm a little disappointed. I thought they were gonna be cool because they said they were gonna bring back the old style Bronco, but they look a little cheesy to me. The OJ style? No, before the OJ style. Do any of us truly know where we are in life? No, I was talking about that to myself today. I always feel like the day after Thanksgiving, I just feel like a dirtbag because you eat so much, you drink, you're hanging out with family. I don't know, like it was a wonderful day, but you're just eating really unhealthy. And then, you know, the days leading up to Thanksgiving, I'm like, it's a holiday. So I just eat unhealthy and whatever. So today I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Let's get it together. I have this every holiday. Okay, so I'm literally just, I was sitting here and I was looking on my Twitter. I'm still sweating gravy. Exactly, you're sweating gravy. It's just not a good feel. You had a great time. Yes, I did already have some turkey this morning. I like to eat the turkey cold and dip it in mayonnaise. That's what I do. It is what it is. I brought pizza to, okay, I brought pizza to family. I'm reading a comment. This isn't me. I brought pizza. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? My phone, I'm doing this on my phone. I'm back. I'm doing this on my phone and it started ringing, but I didn't want to stop it because there are times when I've stopped it from ringing and the live stream cuts off. I don't know why. So I was just trying to wait it out. Okay, so bringing pizza to the family Thanksgiving, keep me or cancel you? Keep you. I like to shake it up. Okay, I want to get back to this because this is wild. This is how bad the crime is. Like, this is in the area. Like, I used to walk this street stop it. I used to walk this street every single day, and this is what just happened. This happened 20 hours ago, yesterday. It says, this morning, a man was robbed and offed while he was walking back to his G-Wagon from Bossa Nova restaurant on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood. A dozen armed men in two different vehicles pulled up on him, and then they banged him multiple times. Someone retweeted this and said, waiting for Seth Rogen to show up in the replies and inform us that getting... Someone said, wait... It was a team effort. Someone said, waiting for Seth Rogen to show up in the replies and inform us that this is all a part of the fun of living in LA. This is actually really scary. This is exactly where I used to live. Not my last apartment, but my apartment before the one I had before I came here. It said, the man passed away from the wounds. The armed men then took his wallet and watch. See, I'm telling you guys. The man passed away from the wounds to his head. The armed men took his wallet and watch. This seems to be happening daily now. 300 armed robberies in the past 2.5 months and 100 home robberies just this past month in West Hollywood. This is what happens when you release 77,000 violent inmates into Los Angeles. That is what the governor of California did last summer. And this is what, it's just like the perfect storm in California. We were releasing all of these inmates, defunding the police in different cities, electing super progressive DAs, and not enforcing low-level crime. Dang. I used to walk by that area just every single day. So, there's that. Well. I'm at the point where I just don't care. I started a poll with my friends to see which one gets, oh my gosh. The people he left behind be extremely devastating. Must be extremely devastating, man. I did not even see that. I typically go on my, sometimes I go on my Citizen app. To look at the area and see what's happening with the crime, but I did not see that one. Wow, yeah. Here we go. He was 23 years old. Oh, wait, no, I have the wrong person. Sorry. Oh, no, he was 23 years old. And he's probably like, you know, because West Hollywood, that's why I moved to West Hollywood, because it used to be, what is the Citizen app? It's really cool. I don't know if every city has it, but it's called the Citizen app, and it tells you like all the crimes and like police activities like in your area. It'll tell you like where the car accidents are. You put your address in, or you can put a address in, and it'll tell you all the crimes or like what's happening in that area. 23 years old. Oh, he was defending a woman. Wait, what? Investigators believe the man who was attacked outside a popular Hollywood restaurant in the early morning hours Tuesday, okay, so this happened Tuesday, was coming to the aid of a woman who was being attacked by suspects likely linked to the recent slew of at-home robberies. Wow. It happened about 2:09 a.m. He passed away at the scene. That's pretty crazy. I heard a lot of shots. A man who did not want to be identified told the news. I couldn't count how many, and then I heard a scream. The girl was constantly screaming, help. I came downstairs. The guy was lying down in front of the car. I checked his pulse. Maybe I could do something, but he had too many wounds. There was nothing I could do. Okay, so he passed away coming to the aid of a woman that was being attacked. It's unclear if the suspects made off with any of the items. I think we do. Or if the woman was harmed. That is really scary. Police have listed areas such as Melrose Avenue and the LA Jewelry District as places where these crimes originate. Yeah, and that's scary too because Melrose Avenue, I used to go to school there. I went to the Groundlings. That's an improv school. And that was actually one of my favorite places to go to. They had one of my favorite little ramen places there and some of my favorite little clothing stores. And that's also where Melrose Avenue was, there was a lot of looting our night of the riots, the George Floyd riots. That area got hit really bad. There were several buildings in that area that were on fire and a lot of looting in that area. And that's one of the hot spots right now for the increased like robberies and stuff like that is the Melrose area. And I don't know if you remember, I talked about it a little bit on this channel, and I actually went and talked to several people that witnessed, but I don't know if you remember the Lady Gaga dog incident. So Lady Gaga's dog walker, I guess, lives in West Hollywood, and she was overseas. The dog walker was out walking the dogs at night, and the same thing, some people in a car, they stopped, got out. She had 2 French bulldogs, which those are kind of a hot item to steal because they're very expensive dogs. He was walking her 2 French bulldogs at night, and some people pulled up in a car, got out, and he was wounded several times. He survived, thankfully, and they made off with the dogs. They ended up finding the dogs, but that happened in West Hollywood too. So these are the types of things. Yeah, that was not too long ago. Yeah, these are the types of things that are happening, and that's what's scary because, you know, you're just out walking. That's why, like, I stopped carrying before I left, and I might have been a little overcautious, but I stopped carrying a purse. I wouldn't wear any jewelry. Not that I have a ton of expensive jewelry, but I wouldn't wear any jewelry. And yeah, and they target those areas because a lot of people in those areas have a lot of really nice things. And that's why Seth is such the D word, because, you know, a lot of people are getting injured because of these crimes. The general public have lost their minds. It's very scary. I didn't know. Wow. So there have been at least 133 follow home. Oh, that's what's scary. It's the follow home robberies. I don't know why it's slightly blurred. It doesn't look blurred to me. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. But I'll probably get off here soon. I didn't know I was going to go this long. I went really long. So these are follow home robberies, which is really scary, and really scary for me too, because that's what I used to walk everywhere. And that's what West Hollywood, it's a very, are you at least packing keychain mace when you go? Yeah, I have bear spray, and I have a taser, and I have a ninja star. But I don't carry them all at once because I don't want them to be used against me. Yeah, I have a lot of stuff, but these are follow home robberies. So, and that's what I was saying. West Hollywood is a very walkable area. So a lot of people, you can walk outside of your apartment or house, and you can go to the grocery store. You can go to, you know, you can go out to eat. You can go to bars. You can go to the coffee shop, wherever you need to go. I walked everywhere. And that's one of the reasons why I loved West Hollywood so much, because I like areas where I can walk and do a lot of my errands. So people, it's follow home robberies that are happening. So you're being followed home, and then they're robbing you, which is even more scary. This is crazy. And a lot of people walk home from the bars at night. So I'm seeing, and I don't do that. I never went out at night. Gun is the best, not allowed in Cali. I know. And that's the thing. A lot of these are happening. Oh, and this is what was happening too. I was listening to this very left-leaning live stream the other day, and there were some guys talking about the Waukesha tragedy, and one of the guys lives in LA, and he's like, this is what's happening. These are how deranged people are getting, because they want to defund your police, they want to let criminals out, they want to have zero cash bail, and they want to embolden all these criminals, and then they want to take away your right to self-defense. And that's effed up. You're basically just a sitting duck at that point. That's not cool. And that's how I started to feel in LA, even before I got interested into politics. It just seemed really effed up that I'm getting rights taken away from me, but criminals are getting more and more and more and more rights. And that's just a recipe for this. And that is so scary. Follow home robberies. That is really, really scary. But it says that the good news is they have a special task force that will be working on this. How is a woman supposed to defend herself against multiple attackers? There's no defending yourself against multiple attackers. And man, that guy died trying to defend this woman. I'm looking at it right now. Literally, like, that used to be, get a katana. What's a katana? I want one. Did I wear this shirt a few days ago? Yeah, so? Do I have a schedule? No, I would like to get a schedule. I think what I would like my schedule to be is, I'm thinking, this is what I ultimately want to do. I would like to do Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. and then one night having it at 8 p.m. so people that work can catch. That's what I would like to do. But I'm going to start announcing when my live streams are. But I plan on, I'll probably do more this weekend because tomorrow's Saturday. I'll probably do one again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Great shirt, by the way. Thank you. It's Chill Mark. But that's what I would like to do. You should do a short of you throwing a Chinese star at a tree stump or something. Maybe I will. Yeah, so I would like to do Monday through Friday and then probably just bonus ones when I feel like going live. I would like to do Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. and one night a week at 8 p.m. So I'll figure out which night I would like to do 8 p.m. All right, you all. That is all I have for today. Thank you for joining, everyone, and thank you for coming. More rocking the ukulele. Okay, so next time I will bring out the ukulele. I'm not familiar with the name Chill. It's Chill Mark. It's a little place on a little island. Good stream, Sarah. It was nice weekly catch up. It was a nice weekly catch up. Okay, thank you guys. I'll bring the ukulele out the next one. And the cats. Okay, ukulele and cats. Okay, bye. Bye, you all. Thank you for joining, everybody. That was fun. I'll see you later. Bye. Oh, Chill Mark. Chill Mark. Chill Mark. Okay, bye.